You've probably heard a lot about Bitcoin lately, whether it's on the news, online, or because your weird mate Steve keeps banging on about how much his is worth. There's a lot of noise and information, and it can be hard to know where to begin. Coin Corner cuts through all the confusion with an easy-to-use site and a friendly customer support team on hand to help. Coin Corner is a quick and easy way to buy Bitcoin in the UK. Visit coincorner.com and enter code FILMBTC at sign up for some free sats or small amounts of Bitcoin to get you started. Coin Corner.
The Podfix Network.
Hello and welcome to episode 228 of the Filmmakers Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk filmmaking from indie film to studio films and everything in between. How to get them made, how to make them, and how to try to F it up in our very, very humble opinion. I am Giles Alderson and I am delighted to welcome on this week's show the fantastic Nóra Lakos. Now, Nóra is the director of the 8 award-winning feature film HAB, translated to Cream in the UK and America. It won Best Film at the Paris International Festival and it is on HBO in July, which basically means now. Seek this film out. I loved it. It's like Amélie, but better. It's so cool. It's a Hungarian film and Nóra on the podcast talks all about how she went from award-winning shorts and TV to making HAB. She talks about what she learnt making TV and why there's only one place to apply for money in Hungary. She talks about the 1-year development process and the 6 months pre-production you get, and also what her writing process is like, what it's like working with others on a screenplay. She talks about why you should apply for funds. She also talks about why it's so important to take photos and videos on your location recce's when you're in pre-production, because she says it is the most important time. You'll find out why. And when things go wrong, why you shouldn't be ashamed. That is all coming up for you with myself, my co-host Dom Lenoir, and the wonderful Nóra Lakos. Now, I, as you know, have been making the feature film Wolves of War. I've been directing that for Picture Perfect and Signature Entertainment, and we have just finished week 3 of principal photography. As you can probably tell from my voice, I'm a little bit tired. We're out filming in the open air. I have lots of supporting artists. I have lots of people getting shot. I have lots of big, wide, expansive battle shots. And you need to raise your voice. You need to be able to communicate when you're by the camera and they're at the far side of the field. And we only yesterday just got a loudspeaker, but I feel such a dick using it. But it's been such an amazing week on Wolves of War. It is my directed World War II movie, and I can't tell you how delighted I am. I'm elated. I'm overwhelmed. I'm really emotional with the whole thing, because my team have been incredible. It really is hard to find a team, I believe, who'd work as hard as these guys. It's amazing to watch. It really is. The production team, the crew, the cast. It's been brutal, that's for sure, and it's been amazing. You know, when you're doing huge explosions, which we have been, you've got to make sure the safety implications are there. There's huge emotional scenes, there's deaths, spoilers, but it is a war film, of course there's death. I actually took a moment yesterday. The sun was beating down, not all week actually. The weather's been fine. It's been that weather that's been great for filming. It looks great, it's not too hot, it's not too rainy, it's just perfect. And then yesterday, it was really sunny. And it was our last day of the week and everyone's knackered. And we've been all working way too hard and the sun's beating down on your neck and it's really hard to work. And what also that means is you can't just go, cool, shoot there, let's move around here, because you can't light a big old field. But what you have to do is block out the sun, which means moving a big 10 by 10 black up every different shot, and that takes time when you haven't got time. And Joe Stringer, our first AD, who you heard last week in the intro, had scheduled to do this big battle, the end battle, in 4 days, and actually we've kind of done it in 3 apart from 1, so fair play to the whole team here. Yesterday was brutal, but I took a moment in the madness to have a little look around, and I saw all our team working, like beavers, from the art team, moving the set around because we needed to keep moving bits of set around behind people, the makeup and hair, doing final checks, putting blood on people, making sure it was all continuity correct, the actors proper preparing mentally, and the camera team changing a lens constantly for different setups and shots. And I thought, yeah, this is where I want to be. This is where I love to be. This is what it's all about. All that pain, all the heartache over the years. That's what it's all about. For moments like that. I didn't get long, obviously. I literally did about 4 seconds, and I think I looked at someone and went, this is cool. And then jumped straight back in, because you have to be in the moment when you're directing. You have to constantly be thinking about the camera positions, how the shot is composed, and how the actor is playing the scene. And most importantly, what is happening before and after that scene. Because if you can't cut it in properly, you're doomed in the edit, and you have to fake it and try and make it work. And what I do in my head is I'm always editing as I go, as we go. So I know if I've missed a reaction or a moment, or I need an extra look, or I still miss them. That's the thing, I still miss them even though I'm editing. There's so much going on, constant questions, so much to do. But as I say, filmmaking, man, it is about compromising and adapting, and trying to make the best film you possibly can within these means. And if you want to do this as your job, don't give up. I could have given up, but I didn't. There's 10 years of pain and problems of not knowing what I was doing and learning and just getting insanely frustrated and upset by the whole process. It is worth it, I promise you. So go out there and do it, kids. This is what this podcast is about for me, setting it up to inspire others. We have some shout outs this week too. Well, actually, I've got loads of shout outs, but I'm just going to do some because obviously I haven't hardly done any shout outs for the last month or so. Thank you so much for all your support and love for this podcast over the time. It really warms my heart. And do keep going on Twitter and saying you love it. Do keep going on Instagram, and do keep telling your friends. Honestly, because the amount of people who say, how are you still doing the podcast when you're making films? How are you doing this? It's because of your love and support. So please do give it back. And if you like this, honestly, just tell everyone you know, because that helps us and it means the world to me. So shout outs go to Michael Wood from Performance Insurance, Anthony Woodley, James Doolan, who sent me a lovely email. Good luck with your career, buddy. Simon Hewlett from NBC Universal, The Female Film Club, Ben Thatcher, David York, Ravenburn Films, release of their film All My Friends Hate Me Now. And of course our top Patreons, Marli J Monroe and Kevin Pybus. If you want to be part of our Patreon, where we're chucking in constant extra little mini episodes or behind the scenes clips or bonus clips from each episode, well, pretty much each episode. Like then Wheatley's episode, there's some bonus stuff. He says some amazing things on our Patreon. Carolina Groppa, and there's some interviews that people have done with me on there as well, plus the full Mark Strong episode. Go to our Patreon now, link is in the show notes. Come support us, be part of the team, and we will be part of you, not in a weird way. So this is it. Let's get to this week's episode with myself, Dom Lenoir, and the delightful, the brilliant Nóra Lakos and her fabulous film Hab, which means cream. Enjoy. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah? Nóra, honestly, it's an absolute joy to have you on. The film Hab/Cream is an absolute delight. Honestly, when Dom suggested, because obviously he went to the Paris International Film Festival, saw the film there and said, Giles, you have to see this film and get Nóra on the podcast. And I watched it and I called you straight away, didn't I, Dom? And went, this is amazing. What a cool film. Right, just great. Well done. I mean, really, really well done. It's glorious.
Oh, thank you.
I said to Giles as soon as I watched it, it's, you know, you watch films in festivals and sometimes there's amazing indie films, and then sometimes you just watch a film and you just think this is just a film that works as a film on all levels, and it sort of captivates you, and it was definitely that kind of experience watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good to hear, actually, because our main purpose was to somehow combine that mainstream story with an art house style and way of storytelling. So, yeah, maybe
success.
That's why.
100% success. And we'll get deep into talking about that in a bit. Dom, first of all, how come you were at the Paris International Film Festival, first of all? How many films were there in there? Can you remember? And was it a specific why you wanted to watch Cream?
I think that the feature competition for films was quite tight. I think the actual in competition, I think there was like maybe 5 or 10, and out of quite a lot of selections. Like there's a lot of people that had entered the festival because this was its kind of first year for the Paris International. And I'd worked my way through a couple of shorts, and I wanted to watch some features, and I sort of, looked at what they were, and I clicked on this because my friend Johnny Cowdell had suggested it was good, and I sort of clicked on it without thinking, okay, this could be good, this could be, an interesting film, and then suddenly I just sort of was quite captivated by it, and it was kind of a surprise. Just how good it was. I was in the film festival because I had one of my scripts in the script competition, and that was the first time I sort of entered a script into a competition, which was sort of an interesting process in itself.
Amazing. And the Paris International Film Festival, which is run by Jenna Suru, right? It won Best Director and the Jury Special Award. Is that correct? I mean...
Yeah.
How amazing. How many, because it's been in a few other film festivals as well, did you put it into quite a few? Because I think that's always interesting while we're talking about film festivals, choosing which film festivals to put it in.
Yeah, actually, now here in Hungary, there's the National Film Fund, which deals with festivals in a way that they send the film or the big festivals. But, after all, you are alone or maybe with your producer. But in my case, I was the one who started to search on Film Freeway.
Yep.
And I don't know, I checked all the description of the festivals, and actually it was really a big surprise for me that Paris International Film Festival is such a great place. Really, it's not only that they are really enthusiastic and they make panels and Q&As and all that things, even it's online, but still something that I could meet so many filmmakers around the world. And they were really like Oscar-winning writer was one of the jury member, Jeff Ark, who wrote Sleepless in Seattle and gained Oscar for that script. And then we had a panel with him, and now we are emailing and all that. So, I mean, it's just fantastic that I just applied that, okay, Paris, it's nice. And maybe I always had this feedback that our film is a bit like, has kind of French atmosphere or something.
Totally, it's like Amelie. Yeah,
so,
I got that.
Okay, then maybe the French audience will like it. So let's submit it. That was it, actually.
Yeah, when I first started watching it, I was starting to think this kind of feels like, I think especially the intro feels very much like a kind of a French film. Maybe it's from watching films like Chocolat and the kind of the patisserie style. And then it slowly started to, I started to realize the characters were from somewhere else. And then I started to get the feel of the kind of Hungarian, humor coming through. And I think it was an interesting mix, but there was definitely like a very strong, French kind of European art house feel, like right from the word go.
Oh, absolutely. It's gorgeous. Let's come back to Cream a little bit. Let's talk about you and your start and how you got to make this delightful film, because it's your debut as well, which surprised me, even though obviously you made loads of award-winning shorts and TV. But I was just so surprised by how effortless it seemed in terms of it was just like a seasoned director had done this.
It felt like a fifth film or something.
Yeah, it did. It really, honestly, it's really impressive. It really is, and so inspiring, I think. And for us, what we do on the podcast is talk about how we got there, because it's sometimes, we can listen to the bigger podcast or whatever. I say bigger, and they often talk to directors who've already made it, and it's very difficult to connect sometimes. But for those of us who are coming up and we're all out there trying to make films, it's fascinating to talk to other filmmakers about how they went from making a short or even getting before the short and then making the feature. So talk us through that, because you also run an International Children's Film Festival. I think it's pronounced Cinemira, is that right?
Yes, it's Cinemira. Yes. Yeah.
Amazing. Talk us through your process of why you wanted to become a director.
Oh, actually, I used to be a journalist in my early 20s, and then I gave birth to my daughter. And then
you were like, I don't want to be a journalist anymore. I've given birth.
Yeah, I'm giving birth. I'm not a journalist anymore. Anyways, I had this, feeling that no matter what you write, even though I was a journalist at a really big newspaper here in Hungary, but still, it doesn't really matter. And it was like 10 years ago. So since that, I think media reputation and impact on the world and on politicians and on business and on whatever just became less and less. And it's it's sad. It made me sad. Yeah. And somehow I felt that I would like to do something that it's more creative and maybe something that I create. Actually, I'm not writing on something that other people do. So that was maybe the trigger or something. And I was also a big movie fan from my childhood. So I was watching films really since ever. So I applied to the Hungarian Film Academy, which wasn't easy to get in because like 5 people get admitted per year.
Only 5.
As a director.
Wow.
So once I got admitted, I was like the hero, the one, the princess. I'm the best in the world. I was riding on my bicycle and I was so happy. And all that.
I can visualize that. That's like
a victory bicycle.
A few months later, I ended up in a small village surrounded by cows and chickens.
Your bike has got a puncture.
Killed by the people there. So the villagers, like it was the whole, and I was vegetarian, so the whole thing was really like a disaster.
Oh my gosh! I imagine. Yes.
So yeah, there were a lot of struggles, but anyway, I just finished the Film Academy as a director and a writer. From that point on, I started to travel around festivals. It's always like this, that you go to one festival and it brings so many other opportunities.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah. Festivals are great for that. We recommend going to festivals as much as possible, or going to Cannes, or go to, and it's harder for, I think as Brits, we feel, we don't need to go abroad to these festivals, but actually the doors it can open up when you do is so much better. It really is. Just opportunities are much more available, or at least you can make them, right, Dom?
Yeah, and not only that, you meet people in festivals that you'll never get to meet.
Yes.
Like 1 mile down the road from you, because of just like the film industry and how it works. People are generally a lot more open-minded for a sort of a chance meeting or discussion at a festival. And all it takes is for someone to sort of have a few minutes and watch your film who would never have taken your email before, and then suddenly you've got an opening somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Also, I think it's really worth to check the jury members if it's available before you apply, and also that what kind of panels and professional meeting ups there going on, because I think that's the most important part of it, really, to meet other people.
Yeah, it really is. And it can be difficult and daunting going up to people and saying hello, who you are. But like you say, if you're on any kind of panel or awards, anything like that can really help, because then people come up to you. So it's really important to do that as filmmakers. You sort of sometimes get out of your bubble, get out the fear factor, and just go, I've got nothing to lose here. Let's just go talk to people. But it can be daunting. I totally get that. So great. So you've made a couple of shorts. You've made some.
Yeah, then I made a couple of shorts and some documentary as well, and even an animation short. So I tried myself, and then I realized that maybe I would need to earn some money as well.
That's always the problem as filmmakers, is this money thing.
Who's making money here?
It just gets in the way.
Maybe I should buy some, food and
exactly,
pay the bills.
Exactly. That old thing we need to do.
And that was the point.
Or become a mustache champion.
Yes, there is that. I wonder if he gets paid. How much does he get?
Is there a prize money for that?
Actually, Hungary lost it, so he didn't get any money for that.
Shane loses money.
Yeah, Hungary loses money.
Yeah.
So finally, I started to work for television. So that was something that was really interesting for me as well. I mean, not artistic-wise, but rather technical-wise, and just practical things about filmmaking and how the quickest you can be.
Yes.
So I think the most important measure of doing TV sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, So did you do sort of commercials and the documentaries for quite some time after you graduated, or was it quite a quick process?
I did some social ads for let's say, but not real commercial for big companies. I didn't do that. Actually, I didn't want to do anything like that, because I thought that, it's like so terrible. I mean, I just don't really understand the whole thing that's going on there. I mean, it's really good because in short term, you get a lot of money for it, but what is the price? I mean, it's
your soul.
Your soul, yeah.
Yeah.
When I like many years ago, I went on a sort of an advert for I think it was like a vodka or a whiskey or something. I just remember that I sort of went there for work experience, and I remember that they'd been sat there for like a couple of days, not deciding on what to do, because the director was opposed to the DOP, and the ad agency were sort of throwing spanner in the works, and they'd barely shot anything.
Wow.
And they were, and I remember suggesting, there was a lot of people that were very annoyed at me because I made a very simple suggestion that because they were basically, they were trying to get the flow of the vodka to look like it had, come at a bit more speed. And then they were like, how do we change the camera? And I was like, why don't you just put like a door wedge underneath the set and then tilt the camera up, and then it was such a simple solution, but they'd been spending so much time like arguing amongst each other, and then obviously they reluctantly did it, and then never would credit or give me any kind of praise for it.
Well, of course not. This work experience kid's telling them what to do.
But that was my experience. It was just a lot of people having ideas.
Yeah, that can be. I hear that a lot. It's done by committee. I've been in a lot of adverts. I've made a lot of adverts, and it can sometimes be by committee, and it can be difficult. But some people are very good at it and make a lot of money. But to get there, you've almost got to be doing that full time. And when you want to make films and TV, sometimes it can be a different path. I know people are doing both, and they're very successful, but it's very difficult. So it'd be really interesting to talk about, because that TV series was successful. Did that help you get Cream made then? Talk us through that process of, now you're in the successful TV show, you're directing over 100 episodes, and now you're the opportunity to direct a feature. How did it happen? Because you wrote it. Talk us through that whole process of why this story, how you got the funding, and then we'll talk about directing it.
Actually, I don't know how it's in the UK, but here in Hungary, there is only one place where you can apply with your project. So it's it's really centralized in a way. Okay. And there is a 5-member committee who decides on your project, and that's it. So if you don't get it, for example, I applied for 2 times before Cream, and once we got the development money. So then first, if you're lucky enough, then you get the money for development, and then you are writing your script for 1 or 1.5 year long, and each draft you have to submit and they have to approve, and then you can go on whether or not. And that's the way it goes. So it's now actually I'm with my second feature, I'm in the process of the developing phase. And we had the same with Cream as well, but actually before Cream, I was developing a feature film for children or for families, and based on a quite famous novel here in Hungary. And we got the development money, and at the end of the development, they said that, it would be too expensive. Sorry, we don't give you the money. For the production, I was like, okay, I'm killing myself. I will never, ever apply to this place. And I was really mad. and that actually, it's really like a tale, but it's true that very day when I received this email.
The rejection email,
The rejection email, the producer who I worked with before many times with my short just called me that there is a script written by Fruzsina Fekete, who is an English teacher otherwise, but she wants to be a writer, and they won a script contest with this first draft, and he offered this to me that if I would interested, then we could work together on it. Wow. So I read the script, and we started to work together with Fruzsina, who that time lived in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur. So we were developing via Skype, which, it was like 4 years ago, so it wasn't so typical like now.
Yes. Much more difficult, with much more problems. Yes.
Yeah. So we developed it together, and then for another year or something, and then we applied for pre-production first, and then production money. Right. And once you get the pre-production, it's like 90-95% that you're gonna get the production as well.
Wow. How long does it usually take? So the first project you did, which is a children's idea, how long was that process? Was it about a year of developing?
Normally, the development phase takes something like maybe a year or year and a half or something like that. And the pre-production for Cream, it was 6 months. Okay. So I stopped the TV show in January, and we started to shoot in the beginning of July.
Right.
And how was the process of sort of collaborating with the body that was paying for the development? Did you sort of agree generally on the idea of the project and the direction it was going? Or were there any areas where it was a bit of a challenge to kind of meet eye to eye?
The thing is that it wasn't so strict. So once you got to develop something, sometimes they say something or advise something. For example, there's a previous version of the script, but we were thinking of not having a straight happy ending, for example, but rather stay with an open ending. And the committee, one of the members of the committee said that they don't really recommend this because, it's a genre film and it's a romantic comedy and audience support for the two to get together and make it at the end.
Yes.
And now with this script, of course, it wouldn't be imaginable to not have a happy ending. But with that script, I think that we could even go that way as well. But they really wanted us to make a film that is a kind of blockbuster in a Hungarian term, which means that more than 100,000 people going to watch it. And of course, at the end, we got some struggle with that because of the pandemic, but we had a premiere in last September in the Hungarian cinemas, and 25,000 people watched it, which was a quite good number.
Pretty good.
Within
number.
a few weeks in the big pandemic. The first day of the second wave of the pandemic was the day when we had the premiere.
Excellent.
Right. Wow.
And all the headlines is that the second wave is here, and the other headlines is cream is here.
Cream of the pandemic.
Yes, exactly. The cream always rises. Like the pandemic did. I was trying to find a really good pun and it didn't work. But anyway, I love that. I think that's a really interesting way, and it is a shame in Britain that we kind of do that a little bit, but also we don't. I hear that in Sweden they do that. It's kind of a conveyor belt, and once you're in the system of making movies, you keep making movies and you keep on that world. And if you're talented like you are, it's a decent system. I do feel sorry for the rest of the filmmakers in Hungary though. If only 5, out of however many. They don't get to make a film at all. It's tough, but I'm sure
it's not easy. I don't know, maybe 8 to 12 feature film is produced in Hungary per year. So it's not that much. And I mean that we, at least there are 100 or 150 directors who are real directors and experienced ones. And so it's not easy. It's a high competition.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So the writing process, how did you learn to write? And, what's your kind of process for that? Do you like to work with other writers or have someone sort of guiding you? How's it work for you?
With my short films, I wrote almost all the short films I wrote by myself, but some of them were adaptations. Yeah, we wrote a few scripts with a friend of mine who we worked together with Children's Film Academy as well. Because we are really good friends, it was never really difficult. So sometimes we had fights or something over the story, but otherwise we could work together quite well. And now what was really interesting, I went to a few international workshop, like script development workshops that helped a lot, and I read all the books, of course, that it's available. And now I'm in a really good script development workshop called Finekid Script Lab, actually, which based in Amsterdam, but of course it was online this time. And what is really interesting that not only that we went through the whole script and we developed it for 6 months, that it's just finished a few weeks ago and started in October. It's really good that you have a long-term workshop. It's not like that you go there for 5 days and then you leave and that's it. But it's also really helpful that from treatment to the first draft, I could develop my story. And I had a coach who was an absolutely perfect coach for this story, I think. And she had dialogue masterclass that I've never had before. And also I think that even these big how to write screenplays doesn't really exist, that kind of chapter isn't it?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
cannot
Write
find
good
a
dialogue,
chapter about how to write a good dialogue. That was mind-blowing for me, really. It was so good that, there are rules for that too. And that really helped a lot for me now to develop my second feature, for example.
Yes. When you, as just touching on what Dom said there, I suppose, in terms of when you do sit down to write, what's your process? Do you literally go, I've got an idea, I'm just going to start writing? Do you have notepads full? Do you have things all over the wall? What's your process there?
Yeah, it's still, when it's an adaptation, of course, then I have the story already. When not, then many times I have like a topic or a theme that it's important for me. And then I start to write. First, I try to, nowadays, before I didn't do that, but I think it's better what I do now, that I try to find the structure in a way. So I try to say that, okay, what would be the story? What would be the heart of the story? Only how to express it in one or two sentences. And then also the characters. I work a lot with the characters now. And there are, you have these character cards as well, with all these archetypes. And I like that very much too. And then sometimes just discover that. And then also I really try to find that, okay, this character is really similar to someone who I know, or someone who I met or something. And I think that's also something that's really helpful for at the beginning. And to just go and dive into the real problems, this real want and need is something that I have to find at the beginning. And beside this, which is like the conscious thing, the unconscious that which is fun. And I think that's the most important part of it, just to have fun while you're writing, because otherwise it's a horror. It's a very road to hell, yeah. But it's like these images. So I search many times once I have a story, kind of something, embryo of a story for you, then I start to search for images. And that helps me a lot, because for me, production design and image and, the style of the film is really important at the end. And it also helps a lot because it gives ideas. And it's also really good to apply to as many contests and founds and whatever it's possible, because many times you just have to rewrite the whole thing, and that helps to clarify yourself what you really want. And that's why it's good. Otherwise it's really tiring, and
Yes.
it takes your time, so it's not easy. And what is really, really hard, I think, is to make your schedule, because, especially nowadays that you are at home, and it seems like that this is the paradise for a writer, because you don't have to go anywhere, so you cannot go to anywhere. Yeah. So you just sit down and write. And then, maybe I should do the washes. Maybe I should cook something. Maybe I should make a call. And I find that everything except for writing, which is not good. So now I have this time schedule that, okay, I wake up around 8 or 9 o'clock, and then I do yoga. And then around 10, then I have a breakfast. And around 10, I start writing. And I do have this timetable. And then from 10 to 1, for 3 hours, it's like really a long term. And I focus, and I don't really stand up. I sit there and I write. And then I have a break. And and maybe that's it.
But still,
in the afternoon I just do some other stuff. Yeah. But
that's the end of the day. Just relax.
But when the deadline is coming closer and closer, then I have the same 3 hours schedule in the afternoon as well, and that's really helpful. Yeah.
Well, even if you just did 3 hours a day, that's more than most people do. Yeah. It's so hard. Yeah. It's so easy to procrastinate. It's so easy to go, I'm just going to tidy the room. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to go on Twitter. I'm just going to go on. And it stops you writing and focusing on what you need to do. And it's so important. And you are so right to do that schedule. I don't know which is the correct way of pronouncing that.
Well, if you're in America, it's schedule. If it's in the UK, it's schedule.
And in Hungarian, it's
időbeosztás.
There we go.
I find coffee's like my kind of writing tool. I get up in the morning, I get myself, I go for a walk and get myself a coffee. I come back and then I'm running on the coffee for like, a couple of hours in the morning. I find that's like a really good way to get that kind of morning focus.
I struggle in the morning sometimes. I think I'm a night owl. And the reason why I like to write at night is because no one else can disturb me. In terms of the day, you might get a call or this. At night, less people are disturbing me. So I can just turn everything off and not worry about it. So yeah, I'm much more of a night person. But
when I write nighttime, then I always have to drink something aside. I mean,
you mean
at
like,
leed
like wine
vodka.
or
a bottle of wine or whiskey or something.
bottle of vodka.
Bottle of vodka, yeah. It's the hungover thing. How do you get up at 8 when you do that? Yeah, exactly. No.
Yeah, then I don't wake up at 8.
Right, yeah, exactly.
But I don't have to because I have already worked during the night.
Exactly, you've done the night, yeah.
I find like night writing, I can do some really like that's when I get something like really inspired, is when it's in the sort of the twilight zone.
Yes.
But I can't sort of do it as a routine. I could never say I'm going to start writing at like 11 p.m. or 12. But sometimes when you have those genius moments, it is at that time, I find.
Yeah, and also writing with other people, it's not fair on them because we have certain schedules.
Yeah, see you at 1 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. I'll see you at 1 a.m. when I'm ready, and they're going, what? So
but you're drunk.
Exactly, of course I am. But right, so I'll do that in the day, writing with other people. But that way I much prefer it because I'm bounce off people. Whereas if it's on my own, I have to really concentrate. So difficult, I find. So Cream is about the love of 34-year-old Dora's life. She's broken up with him, or worse, he has remarried. Her only joy, the pastry shop she owns, also appears to be lost. She makes up her mind to get both her ex-boyfriend and the pastry shop back, even if it means she has to lie. If you like Amelie in any way, shape or form, you will love this movie. It's just, honestly, it's a delight. And your lead cast, which I think is Miklos and Vika, is that right?
Vica, actually.
Yeah, Vica, you pronounce it.
Eve.
Yes.
It's a nickname for Eve, or a short name for Eve.
Is it?
Yeah.
They were honestly both fabulous. To be honest, I thought your whole cast was incredible. The little boy was incredible.
The boy was so funny. I mean, those two are like just faultless performances, but that boy is just like an absolute like gem.
Yes.
And every single scene, he's just pure genius.
Absolutely. Has he been in other things, or was he just plucked from obscurity?
No, actually, I had a casting director who really focuses on children. Mm-hmm. So, and she brought Eric to me and introduced me. And but he had some experience before, so he made some commercials and also some international films, but only for a few days. He had this few days shooting, so that was the biggest role.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, let's talk through how you made it then, and the difference between TV, which you were doing, and then making this feature. Talk about your planning of it, because obviously you've come on board without coming up with this inception yourself. Someone else has said, hey, do you want to jump on this? And then you're developing that. Talk about the actual moment when you know you're going to direct this now, and what was your planning going into that? Were you storyboarding, shot listing, working with the DP? Talk us through all that. It'd be really interesting.
Yeah. Well, I was quite lucky enough with the crew, actually, because the costume designer is my stepsister, actually. And also DOP, the cinematographer. We worked together for like 5 short films previously, so we knew each other quite well. Mm-hmm. And the most challenging part was finding the main location, because originally we were seeking for a lake surrounded by 4 or 5 wooden houses. It's like this typical summer camp, and it was quite important that all these families stay separately because they have secrets, and it's just easier to not sneak out all these informations and all that. Yes. So, but we couldn't find anything like that. I mean, we found a lot of things, that many places that were good or supposed to be good, but that they were like already rented because people renting their house and their holiday house in January for the summer, really? Wow. I was so surprised, but it was like that. So it was just impossible. And we were searching for this location for like 4 months without any result. So, and then once we found this castle that I have already known because I scouted it for another story before. And then I loved that it's elegant and it's really beautiful. It's an old castle. At the same time, there's a big garden. There are so many different places and parts that we can really use. And finally, we shot there for 22 days. So it was really important to have like very different part of the castle. At the same time, it's the same place. So it's really good that we don't have to travel from one place to another and we don't waste time. So we had to change the whole concept. And and actually, I think that, sometimes when you force to change your concept, at the end, you get something that is better than you originally had. And that's why I think it's really important to be flexible, because, it's nothing is like you really dreamt and you planned. And if you're not flexible enough, then you get a heart attack and then you don't have a good film.
I think,
so don't have a heart attack.
Please don't. But top tip. But I think it's actually vital to be flexible on the day, and to, even beforehand, to just, even if you've got a set thing in your mind, it's always going to change. And if you're not flexible, then you can't be a good director. I think you just have to be open to the changes and the issues and the problems, and then just adapt. That becomes better. Like you say, you now had I love the location. I thought it was really cool and interesting.
It's really, really, really charming. Yeah.
Yeah. It was gorgeous. What about your directing process then, in terms of working with, the team and the talent like I say, you had felt like I say, a really experienced team and filmmaker and cast. What's your process working with them and getting those performances that you did?
Actually, what was really important, because we wanted to make kind of elevated fairy tale surrounded atmosphere and production design and stylish one. So we really had to work together with the production designer, the costume designer, and the cinematographer and me. We had many conversation meeting, and particularly with the colors, for example, that, okay, what color do you have? And also we had a lot of characters in the scenes, which means that there are 6 characters, and all the dresses and costumes has to fit somehow with the background. How do we do that? And so we really planned all that. For me, colors are really important. So I was always like thinking on what shades of pink or what shades of blue should we have for like months. So that was really something that we went into the very detail. And I rehearsed a lot, especially with Vita, the main character, the lead, because we couldn't really find her partner for quite for 6 weeks. We were desperately searching for the man without result, of course. And then finally, László Mátrai, who became her partner, was already casted in the story, in the film, for another role, and then we just shipped that, and that's how it went. So that's why I was lucky enough to rehearse with Vita. We rehearsed almost all the important scenes and almost all the scenes she had. And then we could go to the location, and that's why I didn't do storyboard, but we had a photo board, for example. I prefer that much better, that go on location, and, there are so many applications when you can really take photos with the same lens as you plan to have later on the shooting. So we could just photo through the whole locations, and then also we recorded with mobiles a few scenes just to have the choreography, because many times the size of the room is something that you have to know, and then you have to know that, okay, what was the size of the bed, for example, and how can he go around, and how can you follow it? So these tiny details that you really don't, it's impossible to plan it, or it's not really effective at the end that you're planning on your table. You have to go there, and we were lucky enough to, we had 2 or 3 days on location and for rehearsal. And of course, before we made a lot of rehearsal just nearby to the studio or the office we had.
Yeah. I think it's so important, that rehearsal time, as much as you can get. It really changes things when you're on set. You're not discussing things that, what happened in 1984 to the character or whatever. You've done all that. It's now working on the scene, and what's happening right there and then is vital. So the more rehearsal you can have, the better. And
getting used to the location as well. I mean, that's something incredibly useful, because sometimes you not everyone in the team on an indie film gets to see the location beforehand, or you lose something last minute and then suddenly everyone's stuck there. And then what you're doing is you're kind of spending time when you should be kind of working on the story and shooting on like working out technical problems. And it's a really good idea to get onto location early if you can with your crew.
What about when you're actually on set then? Because you've done your rehearsals, you've done your locations, and now you're on set and you're working with your DP and your cast. What's your mindset? What are you thinking? What's a good place to be for directors out there and filmmakers out there? What have you learnt that is a good way to focus?
Yeah, it's not easy because, I think that during the shooting, at least me, but I think all directors is in a very different state of mind than ever before and after. So it's something that's special, and you have a really big pressure on yourself. Actually, you put a really big pressure on yourself, and of course some other people as well do the same with you. But it's much more easier to handle the other people than yourself, I think. And that's something that it's really important to relax yourself and try to focus. And what helps that you really have to make decisions like every 2 minutes. That this table and whatever, the spoon,
costume, spoon,
the tiniest thing from the tiniest to the largest thing. It's really, really like you always have to make decisions. That it's really good. For example, once I finish a shooting day, I go to an elementary shop. I'm standing there, and for 2 hours, I tried to figure out that which chocolate should I buy.
Really?
I feel like
can't make decisions
I had
anymore.
all the decisions that I could make, I made, and now I'm impossible to make any more.
I know what you mean.
Chocolate's an important decision, so
it is as well.
I'm fully with you on that one.
At the end, you have to choose one.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But no, I agree with that. Sometimes when you come back to your family or your friends after you've been shooting, and like you say, you've made decisions every day, everything's about to, you come back, honestly, it's like your brain's gone to mush. You cannot make a decision to save your life. Nothing.
It's simple stuff like, would you like a tea or a coffee?
Coffee. Like,
and you're like, I don't know. I kind of do. I don't really.
Oh, could you mix it?
Never do that, by the way. It doesn't work.
Never
doesn't work.
Yeah. But it's true, isn't that so funny? And those people who aren't in the industry don't really get that. So that's why I always suggest do not go straight into the edit. Afterwards, give yourself that break, right? Yeah.
But mainly what it's really, because sometimes, that if you already have the rehearsal and everybody knows what to do and all that, then probably you are in a safe place. But still, for some reason, many times those scenes that before appear to you that it's going to be really difficult goes really well and easy, and then out of the blue scene just doesn't work, and you don't understand why. I mean, it's just so easy, and then nobody ever suspects that it's going to turn out so bad. And then when you see the first rehearsal or after the first take
on camera take,
it's like it's like a disaster. It's terrible. It's impossible to have it. And then you have this panic method that you have that, okay, you have to do something right now. You have to figure it out how to tell these really nice actors and actresses that it's just so bad, or even to the cinematographer that it's not a picture or whatever. Yeah. And then you have to calm yourself down first, and then you have to be a psychologist, because of course, even you just go out and say that, okay, we have to change the whole thing because it's just so bad like this or something, then everybody starts panicking as well, especially the actors and actresses. So you have to say that, okay, no problem, everything is fine, that's just maybe that's good, and then they lose the whole thing maybe. So it's what is really interesting in shooting and with the crew, that every day, I think almost every day or every second day, there's someone who has a bad day or has a nervous breakdown or something, or emotionally just they go into it.
Some days everyone.
Yes.
And then it's like, and sometimes it's you, sometimes it's someone else. And it's important to not have so it's always have to be someone who brings all the other people out of this state of mind. And especially this should be the director. So actually what is really good with me, that but it's a kind of like personality thing that when something is really, really, when really bad things happening with me, then I'm more relaxed than ever. I'm like a Buddha, and okay, I'm going to solve this. So I have problems when it's only a little problem.
I think that's a really I think that's a really, like, it's nice to hear such an honest
it is, yeah,
explanation of that process, and I think you've tapped on something like really, really interesting as well, which is that as a director, if you don't necessarily have this grand solution to the crisis, you just have to do it bit by bit until the solution becomes, it might be you might give them some notes on take 2 that solve some of the problems. And then it's not till take 4 that you've really figured out, how you're going to fix this scene. But by doing it bit by bit, you sort of keep it under control and you keep it calm and you gradually nudge it in a direction until you have an idea what to do as well.
Yes, you've got to be the leader, right? In those situations, you've just got to, even if you don't know what you're doing or you think this is, oh my God, it's almost like you just have to sort of keep grinding through until it's something will come to you.
Do something until it works.
Please do something, exactly, right?
Yeah, but it's also sometimes for me, I think it's trust that it's really important that if you are surrounded with a few creative partners like your cinematographer or production designer, costume designer, so those people in the head of the creative department are your friends and you trust them and you understand and you have the same taste and you really know what you want and everybody's working for the same story and the same style and the same thing. So once you have that during the preparation, then it's really easy to say that, okay, guys, the thing is that now it doesn't work. This doesn't work at all. So, and I think that maybe we should do this or maybe we should do that. But then, of course, there is many different consequences that it comes because you have to change so many things. And once that you have, the light set already, then if you change the whole choreography or if you change the whole framing, then you have to rewriting the whole scene, which takes like hours and it's impossible and you look like an amateur otherwise. So it's just impossible to do for many reasons. So then you really have to trust your cinematographer and maybe have a conversation that what is your real problem and how can we solve it, and let's figure it out together and maybe ask for 5 or 10 minutes coffee break and then go with those who can really help you and then discuss the things. I think that's really important, not to be ashamed of that something doesn't really work the way supposed or you thought it will, because otherwise you cannot change at the end. So it's like so expensive to reshoot something. And then once you're just sitting in the editorial room and just face that, oh, that's bad, you cannot do anything.
And I was going to say, like, it's a question of being brave in those moments, because there's the natural tendency is you're under a lot of stress. It's like, well, maybe it will be all right, but there's a part of you that knows it won't be all right. And it's those moments when you have to make those like really difficult. Okay, this is going to take a lot longer, but it will get it right, because you have to think about it in advance. And I always try and think about, okay, what would I say to myself in the edit? And it would be like, well, you're saving yourself 10 times the pain by fixing it now, even if it's going to overrun, than having something useless in the edit. Yeah,
it's so important. I love that. Don't be ashamed, because we can feel that way sometimes as directors when we're on set. And we suddenly go, oh God, everyone's going to just think I don't know what I'm doing, or I've lost the plot or whatever. But actually, if you hold your hands up and go, yeah, I'm struggling here, guys. This isn't working for me. Anyone thoughts, here's what I'd like, maybe anyone, again, you don't necessarily have to throw it out to the world, but at the same time, putting your hands up and going, yeah, this is wrong, is okay. As like you say, Nóra, as long as you've got that trust, you've gained that trust and you have amazing people around you, you're in that position. It's when you don't and you hear those horror stories of where people are, oh God, I can't imagine having a terrible time with my DP. I'd just hate it. It would just be like if you were clashing, it'd just be awful. And that's why I think it's really important that you connect with them before you bring them on board. You really have to make sure you're on the same page, I think. Absolutely. Was there anything else you learned while shooting Cream then that you're going to take forward as well, in terms of what, it's like a TV episode is contained within that, but yet the characters continue. So you don't necessarily need a beginning, middle and end. Whereas here you need a beginning, middle and an end, and you have to get it done. What else did you learn?
Actually, besides all these artistic thing, and also that you have to be really flexible and find really good crew members and also good casting, because otherwise if you screw up the casting period, then you will never get a good result at the end. So it's really hard to instruct people who's not a good actor or actress or not good for that role.
It doesn't matter how good a director you are. If someone can't act, it's really hard in a short space of time to get them to act.
I do think that pre-production is one of the most important part of the whole shooting process or the whole production process. And for that, don't rush to get there, shoot it, but rather plan and try everything out before you go there. So it's something that I learned. And another thing that I think it's really important, and especially when I was a student, I never knew that. And now I'm facing with this, that even though you are a director or a writer, so you are in a kind of like an art person, you still really have to read your contract before you sign it. And I think that's something that it's really important, and probably you will not understand the whole thing because it's like another language. So you really gotta get a lawyer who helps you out and explain what you're going to sign. So at least the first thing that at least you should know, because then you not get surprised. And the second, that it's better if you can add something or erase things that you think that it's not okay. And I think that's something that it's really important, and nobody's doing it. So I was signing contracts for years without even reading it. And I never really had a problem with it, because, you know, when you make a short film, no one cares, because there's no money involved in it. So it's only artistic. And sometimes if you have the money, then you apply for festivals and that's it. When you make a TV show, then usually you don't write it and all that. So it's okay.
It's already on a channel.
You get the money, you have fun and all that. It's also good. But once you get to make your feature film, which takes like 2-3 years of your life, and it just becomes your baby, and it's getting just more and more important, and you sleep with it, you wake up with it, you do everything with it, you cut all your friendship and everything, and it's that is your life for 2 or 3 years. Then I think it really counts that what decisions can you make. For example, like for the poster of the film, it's the distributor or maybe the producer and the distributor or maybe the founder who tells that how your poster should look like, and maybe you hate it. And also about the trailer. So it's not that you're going to edit your trailer because everybody says that, you don't understand how to sell and you don't understand your own film and blah, blah, blah. And sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not. I think it's like a combination. I think it's good that there is a new perspective involved in the marketing. Also, it's important, I think, to involve the director as well, and just to find a fine balance of it. And sometimes it can happen without any contract, but sometimes not. And if it's not, then it can be really painful. And it's only just one little thing of it. But, you know, I think that it's important. For example, also just to submit your film to a festival, you need the right for that too. Because you're not the one who funded the film, so financed the film. So
or if you want to put it in cinemas, or you want to take it on tour of schools, whatever it may be, or make a VHS copy of it for novelty factor, you need to have that in your contract. But they're becoming popular again. But it's all those little things that if you want to do that, you must make sure they're in your contracts, or you must know about them. So I totally agree. You've got to learn. It's a business, isn't it, at the end of the day? And we can't just go through our filmmaking careers not understanding that. We have to understand that, otherwise we get burnt and we get, the posters we don't want, or the, release where we don't want, or we can't do anything with it afterwards, or festivals. So it really is important. That's great advice. I love that. Talking of distribution then for it, because it's the Hungarian Film Board, is there a same thing, like you say, you had your cinema release, and again, if it wasn't for COVID, it would have been even bigger, and a big splash, even more so than I feel it is. In terms of Europe and the rest of the world, how does it work? Do they then just sell it on? Do you have any involvement in that?
I don't, but the board has the international right for selling the film, and now because our lead is partly Slovakian, partly Czech, and partly Hungarian. So now it was an advantage. So a Czech distributor bought the film already. So it's going to hit the Czech Republic cinemas this summer. And also, which is really good that HBO bought the film. So we have the premiere in July on HBO.
Wow.
Which is also really cool. And yeah, we are still waiting for some other. We have a German co-producer, so it's also possible maybe that German would be interested once. So that's how we are right now.
That is amazing. Do we know anything about England at all?
Not yet.
There's definitely distributors I know who love this movie. It's always harder.
Yeah, I think it'll be popular over here.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
It is always harder when it's a foreign language, but it doesn't matter, you know. It's an award-winning film that deserves recognition because it's so gorgeous. You know, it really is. You've done such a great job. I loved all the cakes. I loved all the colours. I loved the palette. Even the umbrellas were all matching. I loved all that. It really added to it, and it gave a sense of style that you brought across and feeling of this film that was whimsical and delightful, and we really wanted them to get together. Yeah, exactly. You know, and I loved it. I thought you'd done a fantastic job. I can't wait to see what you do next, which sounds like it's a novel adaptation. Is that right?
Yeah,
great.
It's a multi-award-winning Dutch novel. So, and we are about to make it in an international co-production. Maybe it's gonna be shot in English as well.
Oh wow! Okay.
For some obvious reasons.
Yes. Yeah. It does make it easier.
Maybe it would be easier to distribute around the world later on. And actually, it's a family film, which is something that it's important for me. To make films, quality films for children and families. And I think it's there's a lack of this genre, I think, like everywhere in the world, in a way that, you know, once I sitting with my daughter and trying to figure out what to watch, then we just have to face that we've seen all that we would be interested in. So it's like, what to watch? So now I'm making a film to watch.
I love that.
Yeah, I think it's amazing because I personally think that like watching films probably taught me as much, if not more, than school, like, about life and so many different things. Yeah. And to have those kind of things that really affect children is like really, really powerful, I think.
Yeah,
totally. You can have a difference on their lives, and it really, really can.
Yeah.
Films, everyone talks about what their favorite film is as a child, you know, and it does affect you. And if you can have any kind of say in that and actually make a difference in doing good, then wow, that's wonderful, I think. So very excited to see what you do next. And honestly, well done on this. I can't wait for it to come out in the UK so that our lot can see it. And in America, HBO in July, that's super exciting. And let's talk and see if there's anyone we can get this to help. Though it sounds like your Hungarian border already pretty good. But we'll do what we can for sure. Are you on socials? Are you on the social media? Can people find you there at all?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. So yeah.
What's the name? Is it Lakos Nóra?
Yeah, it's Lakos. Because, you know, in Hungary, it's not like Nóra Lakos, but it's Lakos Nóra, so the other way around.
You do it the other way around, yes. So you'd be Lenoir Don.
It's like the Japanese, actually. We have the same thing with Japanese.
Right. Yeah.
So it's Lakos Nóra, and I think the same on Instagram as well. And we have the Cinemira Children's Film Festival too. Through that, and also we have the Cream has a Facebook and Instagram page as well. It's Hub Film, because Cream is Hub, HAB. So
which is super great. I'll put all that in the show notes so people can follow you, cool. And hopefully it'll be out soon for everyone to see. But honestly, Nóra, this has been a delight. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure.
Thank you. For me too.
Real pleasure. Cool. Dom, you can find him at De Dom Lenoir on all the platforms, correct?
That's true, yeah.
See if you can do mine.
You can find Giles at Giles Alderson or the Filmmakers Pod on Facebook, Dom. Twitter, and Instagram.
Yes, welcome. If you do like this, do tell your pals. And if you really like this, go on IMDb. You can go on there and give it a review, because we are on there now. But you can go on iTunes and then give it a lovely 5-star review. That would mean the world to us. Go out there, make your indie film. You can do it, just as Nóra has done. And if you're lucky enough to rise up like the Cream to the top, it is your duty to to send the elevator back down. Thank you everyone so much for listening. It's a joy as always. We love all your comments and support. Go out, keep going making your films. Make it happen. You can do it. We believe in you. Thank you again, Nóra. Thank you.
Thanks, Nóra.
Cheers, Dom. You've been a star. We'll see you all on Tuesday. Take care.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Ciao.